biblically won the championship. Ferguson, can you blame the man for going out of his mind?
Here are your headlines. After Aberdeen comfortably beat Morton and progress to the Premier League, the Premier Sports Scottish League Cup. My thanks to Don's Collector, as always, for sending those through. It's a comfortable 3-0 win for the Dons. Nielsen, Yengi and Clarkson with the goals. Just under 5,000 were in Capello. And here is your quarter-final draw. So the Dons were paired against Motherwell. Ties to be played the weekend of the 20th and the 21st of September. Other ties include Kilmarnock against St Mirren, Partick Thistle against Celtic and Rangers against Hibs. Hi everybody, how you doing? A warm welcome to Ali Beg AB TV this Sunday night. Well, that's more like it, isn't it? Much better from the Dons yesterday. A hugely improved performance over the Hearts and Celtic games. Delighted to get the win, delighted to get into the quarterfinals. And hopefully this will kickstart our season. So this is the review show. This is your opportunity to come on and tell me what you thought of the Dons yesterday against Morton. Everybody was, especially in the media, were almost writing us off, weren't they? Some were suggesting there was a mini crisis going on at the football club. What mini crisis? So a little bit later, Andrew Budge and I will be looking at the finer details of the game. And what we've done is we've concentrated more on Yimmy's setup yesterday, with the fullbacks getting a little bit further forward, which almost made it look like we played like a 3. And what we've done is we've pinpointed how effective that setup was over the piece. So that's coming up a little bit later. I really hope you enjoy it. It's about 10 minutes long, give or take. We'll have the usual bits and pieces tonight as well. So please, as always, feel free to get in touch. Right, so the team, as per normal, nowhere near it. This is your starting 11 that Yimmy picked. He made 3 changes to the side that lost to Celtic. So Gavin Malloy came in at left back. Ante Palaversa came in for the skipper, who dropped down to the bench. And Shaden Morris came in for Topi Keskinen, who also dropped down to the bench. Nicky Devlin, he was also on the bench. Gavin came in for Nicky at left back. Apart from that, it was as you were. So Yimmy spoke after the game to the club TV channel, and this is what he had to say.
No, first of all, I'm happy with that because we have a lot of supporters here travelling down today and watch us play, and it's always important for our players to give 100% and try to make a good performance and deserve the result. And I think they did today. I'm really happy now we are through to the next round and we can celebrate with our supporters again.
Jimmy, some cup records you've got. I think that's your 13th cup game. You've won 12 games, only 1 defeat. So, and this again is a competition we want to do well in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it always we are a big club who want to be competitive in all the tournaments, in the cups, in Europe and in the league. So it's just to have this capacity to recover and perform again and be consistent, and that's what we're working on. And I'm happy that we could do some things a little bit better today with the way we arrived to the opponent's box and control the transitions. And so small progress every week, and just keep working that way.
I was going to ask, I mean, what pleased you most today? Maybe what areas you still need to work on?
First of all, it's good to see all the supporters here. It's like the support is always strong, and then again, some players taking some steps and they find more rhythm together. I think Yengi takes some steps today with his connections with the teammates. I think the rest of the team arrive with more balls into the box to get more opportunities. So overall, and also in the end, when we get some cramp in some players and the players quick adapt to new positions and take responsibility for the result in a good way.
Questions by Malcolm Panton, pictures courtesy of Red TV. Don't forget that Ali Beg AB TV is supported by and brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. But not just that, they also offer services such as torquing, testing, refurbishment and welding. So if you are interested in any of those services, for the oil and gas industry, get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch with the guys at Saltire Energy. Right, let's get you on before we get Andrew on, just to see your early thoughts and see how you are this evening. Ryan Ellington came on and said, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. What a great result for the Dons yesterday. He went on to say, also well done to our new striker Yengi for scoring his first goal for Aberdeen. Keep up the good work and we'll be back. Come on, you Reds. Cameron Young says, good game yesterday and into the quarters against Motherwell. Hopefully get to Hampden and hopefully Marko Lazic arrives tonight or tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow, so many happy returns when it comes, Cameron. I hope you have a great day. Graham Gibbs says, turned out to be a rather pleasant day out. Morton were a little disappointing and we were in control. Best wishes to Mr. Imrie and his partner. Sometimes football is not so important. Yeah, well said, Graham. So Doug Imrie, Morton manager. Sadly, his partner gave birth to a very premature baby daughter. She's in intensive care at the moment. But we, of course, wish Doug and his partner the very best wishes from everybody here at Ali Beg ABTV. Thank you for pointing that out, Graham. David Shivers says, I don't understand that. He says, oh my God, David, seriously, write your sentence properly, dude. A win is a win, heading in the right direction. Did much better than Morton. I think that's what you were trying to say, fella. Thank you. Paul Donaldson says, evening dandies, didn't get to see very much of the game. Spent most of the time in the queue for the burger van. What are you doing, fella? Capello was totally underprepared for a large number of visiting fans. Paul missed both goals and only saw Leighton Clarkson's goal. Great finish though, you're absolutely right, Paul. An absolutely sensational finish. Wasn't it a great move? Fast, free-flowing, attacking football. Boom, 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 goal. Love it. Fraser Gunn, greetings everyone. Good result and many positives yesterday. Enjoyed watching the new 7 play. Thought Fletcher Boyd was good when he came on and looked like he's bulked up a bit. Yeah, I thought he had a very good shift when he came on. Paul came back to say that he was unlucky not to score. The Morton keeper pulled off a really good double save. Neil Sinclair is here, wishing you a good evening. As is David Gold, as is Neil, as is Suze, as is Michael Taylor, as is Barry Cool. Easy win and good to see young Yengi getting on the score sheet. Great finish by Clarkson. David Horn says, good evening Ali and fellow dandies. First win of the season. Let's roll on Thursday. David McLennan says 2 scorers that weren't in my starting lineup. Goes to show what I know. Join the club, mate. Scott McLean says, I feared the worst, to be honest, but I'm very happy to be proven wrong. Grey Pilgrim says, Yengi absolutely lethal from 4 inches out. The air to Stavrum. Behave yourself. Come on. A goal's a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a 20-yard screamer or a 1-inch tap-in. A goal's a goal. He was in the right place at the right time. Come on. John Bleasdale, hi John. Nielsen played better with someone more mobile alongside him in Palaversa. Also like the impacts of Clarkson and Keskinen. Thought the latter needs to work on his decision making at times. Barry Cole says, can't wait for Thursday now. We have to give it a right go. You're absolutely right. Can't be bothered says, evening all, decent performance. But what's with the muted celebrations for the goals? Really? I don't think it was that muted, was it? Michael Taylor, I've just noticed you, I was just going to say that a little bit later on, fella. FSCB away to Rapid Bucharest at 7:30 UK time this evening. I've had a quick check on that game. So obviously it's a local derby. Rapid are currently in 3rd position. If FCSB lose tonight, they could drop down to 14th. This will be their 6th game of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. We're keeping an eye out on that a little bit later. Right, let's get Andrew Budge on. So, if you just missed the top of the show, what Andrew and I did was we looked at Yimmy's setup for yesterday's game and the tactics deployed. And then we've picked out some examples of how he got it absolutely spot on the day. And it gives us plenty food for thought going forward, and particularly for Thursday night. So welcome back to the show as always, Andrew Budge. Hi mate, how you doing? Are you well?
Yeah, good, thanks, Ali.
Congratulations to our new Aberdeen Press and Journal Evening Express tactics writer. Get you, fella.
I know, going places.
It's brilliant, mate. I'm absolutely delighted for you. Congratulations. Right, we'll get into the tactics in just a moment. But first of all, as always, give us your general thoughts on how we played against Morton.
Really positive, to be honest. Was labelled as a bit of a banana skin, particularly by the media in the build-up. We'd have thought we were a crisis club, to be honest, of some of the reporting we received last week. But I thought we handled the tie really well, really professionally. Didn't really give them a sniff, to be honest. I think they had one shot in total. We really handled it really professionally. I thought Yemi got it set up in possession really, really well. I thought the introduction of Morris and Malloy on the left was really good. They were really effective. I thought they looked really robust. We sort of stood up to the challenge that they faced us. A sort of game I thought we'd have struggled with maybe in prior years, but we thought we really, really, really positive. So yeah, delighted with that.
Okay, let's have a look at this first graphic, which is basically illustrating the setup with us in possession. So talk us through this.
Yeah, like I was saying, one of the most common sort of failings we've had in recent years is trying to break down a low block. And we knew at the weekend that's what we'd be facing, was a low block in Morton, with it being a lower league opposition. And it's somewhere we've really struggled in recent seasons, but I thought we had a clear game plan on how to do that yesterday or on Sunday. Saturday. I'm in Melbourne time. Games are late at night. But yeah, I thought we had a really clear game plan on how to break them down. And I just thought the way we lined up was really aggressive in some of the starting positions of our players. When you're showing the graphic, it's almost like a sort of 3-2-5 we often sat in our build-up. So you'd have one of the midfielders dropping deep, like Pelton Nilsson would often do that, with Milne and Dorrington going really quite wide. And sort of two in midfield being Palaversa and Arashish. And you've kind of got that line there of five, with our fullbacks pushed up really, really high. So what that did was that really pinned back a lot of the Morton players, which I thought was really, really effective. When you've got your fullbacks that high, what it meant was Milanovic and Morris would be a little bit more central. So that worked really well because it gives the centre-backs more to think about as well. They weren't just occupying sort of Yengi, they'd have Morris and Milanovic to think about. Often we see sort of strikers or even Yengi this season being so isolated. So by having our sort of wingers a little bit inside at points, it sort of gave the centre-backs more to think about, which I thought was really, really effective. And when our sort of centre-backs like Milne and Dorrington had a bit of space, they were really encouraged to sort of drive forward, which I think is really good use of the ball. And that's what Celtic often do against us, is give it to one of their centre-backs who's often the spare man in possession because we're not pressing them, and they've just got the space to sort of drive down the field, and that's exactly what Dorrington had in the example we're going to show in a minute. But when you see on screen that space Dorrington has with Milanovic being pushed up high centrally and Jensen really wide, he could just carry the ball forward, have a really sort of direct attack on the Morton goal. But yeah, I thought our build-up was really encouraging.
Okay, well, let's go through it step by step. Tell us how that sort of the way that we play the wing backs further forward gives us a little bit more room in that central area to be more creative. But Nielsen's role was absolutely critical, and I have to say I thought Nielsen had a great game yesterday for us. Just tell us how the graphic then translate to how it worked on the day.
Yeah, I completely agree on Nielsen. I thought he was really good. Back to sort of some of the form we saw at the start of last season, which was really encouraging. But yeah, when we pull up the first graphic we show here, this is kind of showing how deep Nielsen would be in between the two centre-backs. You can't see Dorrington off picture. He's really wide, and in this example, Nielsen, you can see him pointing to Milne to be much wider. So what that does is when Milne goes wider and Dorrington goes wider, you can see Brophy and the other forward pointing him to usher him to go further wide and sort of try and pull apart that two-man press that they've got there. So you can see also Palaversa sort of dropping into the space between the two midfielders as well. That's to try and bait in someone else from the Morton midfield and just really try and cluster their press into one area. an off picture, you can see, you won't see this yet, but that's where you've got Dorrington. It's got so much room to drive forward. And what kind of facilitates that is the positioning of Jensen, who's really, really high and wide, like we mentioned. When we jump onto the second graphic, that's where you see the sort of benefit of our setup there. It might look really subtle sort of tweaks of having some centre backs slightly wider and Nilsson dropping in between them, but that there is exactly what we're doing. Is just trying to get that space for Dorrington to drive forward with the ball. Again, you can't even see Jensen in this example yet because he's just so high and wide. I would have loved to have seen his heat map yesterday, but it's not tracked on sort of typical websites that we use. But he was just honestly bombing down really, really advanced sort of high positions all day long, and I thought it was really, really effective. But yeah, as you can see here, Dorrington driving forward. It's one of that skill set that we mentioned before, even at the sort of preview for the season. He's got a really good ability to carry the ball forward, and you can see the space he has there to exploit. Jumping on to the final example from this, he gets all the way to the edge of the Morton box just by carrying the ball himself. It's so dangerous and such an effective weapon to have in our arsenal. It's something I would really like us to see more often in upcoming games. Obviously, this was sort of lower league opposition, but that's exactly the sort of thing we need to be seeing against sort of tougher blocks in the Premiership. Finishing off this example, again, you can see how wide Jensen is. That's how high and wide he was to give Dorrington that space to drive forward. And you've got Milanovic in the box there. You typically often expect that's where he would be where Jensen is. And that means we've got another body in the box to support Yengi, to give us an option. How often have we seen us play a cross in and there's only one person in the box to try and capitalise on it? Just getting more bodies in. This cross eventually falls to Morris, and his shot is blocked. But again, really positive that we're committing men forwards, and we've got a clear game plan and to break down some of these low blocks.
Talking about committing men forward, it's something that you and I have spoken about since the beginning of the season, the importance that the midfield get up and support Yengi if he's playing that sole striker role. And particularly for the second goal yesterday, his goal, which I was absolutely delighted that he got. When Shayden Morris gets the ball and cuts inside, it's so encouraging to see that he's got options to lay the ball off to a number of players inside the box. So for me, that message is now starting to get across.
Yeah, no, really delighted to see that as well. We've bemoaned how often we've just seen not enough attacking intent from us, so it was great to see a return to that at the weekend. Pulling up the example, like you said, Morris cutting inside, and you can just see sort of how high and wide even Malloy is there. He's the sort of wider, more advanced player on the left, which gives a bit of space for Morris to cut inside on his right foot and get that shot away. That's even something we've not really seen much from Morris. He's typically been on the right wing, being a really sort of touchline hugging winger and really focusing on being his man and getting across in. So it was really interesting to see that change in his positioning to the left, cutting inside on his right foot. And I thought he was really, really encouraging performance, really robust and was riding challenges. So yeah, that was good to see. In this example, as you mentioned, we've got 3 or 4 men really committing into the box, which really helps. And again, you can see Milanovic in a more central position there because Jensen's out wide, holding the width and occupying their wingers and their fullback. So yeah, we really like this example. When we move on to the final example of this, that's where you see the shot being saved by the Morton goalkeeper from Morris, and it's Milanovic who's on hand to cut it back to Yengi. If we are maybe more conservative in our approach, Milanovic would probably be where Jensen is, or maybe at the back posts, kind of not impacting play as much. Because we've got Jensen really high and wide, it gives Milanovic the licence to be more central and get involved in these sort of attacks in central spaces and be available for rebounds rather than maybe further out wide and not as involved in the play. So yeah, great for Milanovic to sort of sniff the danger and anticipate and react to the rebound. And yeah, I'm so delighted for Yengi to be on hand for the cutback and score into an empty net. He must have had a really tough couple of weeks. And overall, I thought his performances was a lot better yesterday, and Tilleen even mentioned that yesterday, that even just his link-up play was a lot better. Even just various aspects of his games, he was winning headers, being a bit more physical. So yeah, hopefully more of that to see, but really liked the way we attacked on the weekend.
Yeah, it was hugely encouraging. Okay, so this sets us up nicely now for our Europa League qualifier against FCSB on Thursday night at Pittodrie. I can't help but ask you, mate, that I think the manager now has a bit of a selection dilemma. And I'm also going to be really intrigued to see what type of tactics he will deploy on the night. I hope he doesn't go 5 at the back. I don't think he will, not at Pittodrie. I'm wondering if he may be so bold to go 4-3-3. I wonder. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree. He has got quite a sort of selection dilemma, to be honest, because there was a lot of really positive performances from the weekend. I think Malloy should
Yeah.
probably play. I'd like to
Yep.
see him play at left back. He was a really good game. He looked really defensively solid and robust. I'd like to see. I think it'll be Milne and
Darlington.
yeah, Dorrington. Sorry, again the
Knudsen?
centre back. It might be a bit early for him. If they were both good there, it'd be tough to see Knudsen come back. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'd happy to see any of them play. I guess it's the midfield selection that's probably the biggest headache for Tulane. Nilsson was again improved at the weekend, so I think he potentially staked his claim there. But it'll be really interesting to see who he plays in midfield, because I thought Palaversa did well. He was really tidy on the ball. Arishish, I think, will definitely play because he's really encouraging so far. So I think it'll be pretty similar, to be honest, to what we saw at the weekends. But yeah, hopefully just a really good night at Pittodrie. We've wanted some European performances where didn't have anything to go for yet last season. It's great to have it back at Pittodrie. I really like the initiative to have everyone wearing red again, just like the cup final. Hopefully we've got a great atmosphere, and yeah, just another famous night for us there.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for the game. Right, fella, thank you so much. So we will see you after the Europa League game, but a couple of days after, because obviously I'll be travelling back from Aberdeen. So I'll see you then. Thank you, fella. Take care.
Yeah, take care. Cheers.
Bye, mate. Ta-da. Thank you as always, Andrew. And a gentle reminder that Ali Beg AB TV is also sponsored and supported by Craig International, redefining global procurement. They're perfectly placed to do that as well, with 10 offices strategically placed all over the world. So if you are looking for procurement services, my suggestion is you very much get in touch with them, because they are the market leaders. There is nobody better at it than them. So as per normal, get in touch with me and I will put you in touch with them. Just quickly, here were the match stats from the game against Morton. So we enjoyed a huge bulk of possession, 62%. We had 11 shots in total to just their 1. They did not record a single shot on target. We recorded 7. 8 crosses into the box in total to their 4. And the corner count is exactly the same. Right, let's get back to your thoughts. Hope you enjoyed that piece and I hope it made sense. John Grant says, hi Dandies, job done and another 90 minutes into the legs. Hopefully we can now kick on from here and get the season started. I still can't even near to predict what the team lineup will be. I have no idea how he's going to do it for Thursday. David McLennan says, don't start Shinnie and Nielsen together. Hopefully, lesson learnt. Sheep on Fire says, look good, but we're still a little bit too slow. Nielsen for me isn't the answer in the middle of the park. I would like to see Palaversa and Polvara in there for a chance in the second half. The Mad Ferret says, good evening Dandies, good win yesterday. Let's hope it's the perfect build-up to our European game on Thursday night. Neil Strachan says, good evening Ali, fantastic game, fantastic result. I'm looking forward to the FCSB game on Thursday. Come on the Dons, let's make us happy. Ian Barron. Hi Ian, thanks for this. He said, not Dons related, but we're up in Keith for the weekend and today we were on the Keith to Dufftown train. I think you mentioned that your dad helped restore the line. So just let me quickly tell you about that very quickly. So back in the early 80s, my dad ran a tourist train. It was called the Northern Bell. And the Northern Bell was a very prominent train in Scotland, I think, during the 50s and the 60s. And then my dad kind of revamped it all. And he won all sorts of awards. He won a very prestigious industry award, tourism award called Come to Britain Trophy, which he won in 1984. 1984. So what he did was he basically in conjunction with the old ScotRail at the time, opened up the branch line from Keith to Dufftown, where the Glenfiddich distillery is. So he would take folk on the train all the way to Dufftown. They would get a little tour around the Glenfiddich and then would come back. And yeah, the line has been open ever since. Believe it or not, I swear to you, this is true. This is absolutely true. Round about 1986, he got offered the line. It was offered to him for the pricely sum of £1. £1. And because at the time I didn't really get it, didn't understand it, I said to him, why aren't you buying it? I was just a kid at the time, didn't get it. And then he made me understand that he would be liable for all the repairs. So all the bridges that went over the line, all the works in and around the line, everything Dad would be liable for. So that's why they offered it to him for £1. And his ashes, half of his ashes, are actually scattered on the line. There's a small loch just before you come into Dufftown, where the train used to stop for lunch. And after he passed away, we scattered half his ashes along there because it was one of his favourite spots. Going to go and see him and my mum in the grave on Thursday when I'm up, when I'm over. So yeah, sorry, I completely digress. But Ian, thank you for the message. Fraser Gunn says, thought Malloy had a great level of balance to the back line, was a good threat going forward. Gary Finlay says, good evening, dandies. I'd like to see more Scottish players. Yeah, I was working out today, because of this Europa League ruling in terms of the squad. So it's a 25-man squad and it's 8 homegrown players that have come through the club as well. So you can double check this as well, but Andrew Budge and I were looking at this earlier and we've managed to just get 7. We've only managed to get 7 players into that list of 8 players. So yeah, I actually think I'm really intrigued to see if we get a full 25-man squad. Oh, lovely. David Gold, thank you for this. Sky Stout scored a magnificent free kick today for the Killy girls. What a way to shut up the online trolls and bullies. Well done, that girl. Good result for us. I don't know if you saw that, but Sky Stout, we dedicated the preview show to her. Young Kilmarnock professional, just signed her first year deal. The day that she signed, Kilmarnock tweeted about it. Very sadly, they had to take it down because of the moronic behaviour, the imbeciles that went online, the saddos who have nothing better to do, went online and bullied her and said the most appalling things about her. And today she scores a sensational free kick. I understood it was the 4th goal. So well done, Sky. Margaret Alexander says, I was at the game yesterday and seen enough to convince me we will be all right as the season goes on. Yengi was my man of the match. He worked his socks off. I thought he did really well, Yengi, yesterday. DM says, hello, dandies. I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll be okay on Thursday. Who did the Jambos get in the quarters? Who did Dundee United get in the quarters? What a week. What a few days. Sneaker Golfer says, I think Yumi has already said that we will not fill our European squad due to the lack of homegrown players. Yeah, you're quite right, fella. Daniel Wilts is asking, where is Paul Vara? What's going on? Speculation, I know, but his contract expires at the end of the season. Maybe refusing to sign a new deal. I don't think it's that, mate. The manager did come out and said that he had an issue with his intensity when he starts games, and that's got to be worked on. So, let's see. Graham Gibb is asking, so were Morton overawed, or did our tactics stifle or surprise them? I think we completely... honestly, I thought we got it spot on. They didn't know how to cope with it. Kevin Spence says, good professional job yesterday. Surprised Sokla and Knarteson didn't get any minutes as game was won early. Right, just a gentle reminder, guys, that it is the Europa League qualifier. My thanks to Glenn Cairns for providing me with these pictures, and I'll be using them all season. So many thanks for your generous offer, Glenn. On Thursday night, under the lights at Pittodrie, if we get there, of course. Match day, Europa League qualifier. First leg, kick-off at 19:45, and hopefully I will see you there. I'll be with the kids up in the Richard Donald Upper. If you do see us, come and say hello. I'm really looking forward to flying over on Tuesday. Just before we finish off, Quipco International, servicing the oil and gas industry. They also sponsor us here on Ali Beg ABTV. They have a purpose-built repair facility where they can offer you a number of services, including production, servicing, cleaning. They offer services such as CNC machining, downhole equipment manufacture and refurbishment. And they also manufacture a wide range of fishing equipment. Like always, if you are interested in any of their services, if you're based in the Middle East and beyond, there are their contact details. Or if you prefer, get in touch with me and I will put you in touch with them. Thank you as always to everybody that sponsors me here on Ali Beg ABTV. Thank you for your comments tonight. Don't forget to like and please continue to subscribe. We're doing well now. It's really starting to build. Momentum is definitely on its way up. Don't forget to subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. It is merely a means of following. Very much like Instagram, Facebook, X, other social media platforms. So thank you if you have already followed us here. We're now well over 4,500 and we're now well on our way to 4,600. The next major milestone is obviously to get to 5,000. Right, just to finish off, as we've done just over half an hour, just get a couple of other little messages on. I'm going to read it out anyway, Charles. Michael Stewart on Sports Sound today suggesting Paul Vara would be a good signing for Hibs. Graham Gibb is asking, any word on who is fit for Thursday? Gavin Malloy, Shayden Morris, Jack Milne and Antti Palaversa all went off injured. No doubt, Graham, we'll find out on Wednesday afternoon. The manager will give his pre-match press conference, so we'll probably find out around about 2-3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. Right, guys. David McLennan very quickly says, think we're still short of a proven striker. Yeah, we are, mate. But hopefully we're going to get the lad Lazetic in the next 24 hours. So, thank you as always for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the analysis with Andrew Budge. So, because I'm travelling, there's going to be no preview show ahead of the Europa League game on Thursday night. So, as I said, I'm heading over, going to the game on Thursday night, taking my kids, can't wait to get over, and heading back home again on Saturday. So, the idea, because I don't get home until very late on Saturday, we're going to do a review show of the Europa League game with Andrew Budge on Sunday. Because obviously we don't have a league game that week as well. So we'll come on, we'll do a show, we'll catch up with everything from Pittodrie as well. And we'll just see what happens. So take good care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll bump into you on Thursday night. Have a great week. And I'll see you when I get back, which will be next Sunday. So a week tonight. Take good care of yourselves. Stand free.